Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm back at it again. Now that we're finally in the new year, we actually made it. Hallelujah, right? Because it goes without saying, even at the start of the new year, I mean, at the genesis of the new year, there's been something serious. You got all these folks literally crashing, quite literally crashing out. I know that's a phrase. But no, you got folks getting into all kinds of Humvees, all kinds of trucks, all kinds of cyber trucks, and crashing the fuck out, quite literally. And we've just hit the new year. Like, make it make sense. And from what I'm hearing on the tube, they saying that this is just the beginning. Like, this is just getting this is just the beginning of like a slew of terrorist attacks, if you will. But let's just bear something in mind, because the first guy who did that attack down in New Orleans, they're saying that, oh, he's ISIS, he has ties to ISIS, but is it just me, or are we neglecting the fact that this dude was not only a U.S. citizen, regardless of his potential Arabic origins? Despite all that, damn all that, because this was, and I highly doubt he was FBA. I highly doubt that, but this dude was basically born and raised in Beaumont, Texas. And not only that fact, damn that fact, but the other fact is that is the fact that he served in the U.S. Army. So America goes out of its way. I just noticed to blame outside sources like terrorist groups, and I mean, no doubt they've had their influence, to say the very least. No doubt, of course they have. But I'm pretty sure ISIS is looking at this and saying, we didn't have nothing to do with that shit. Not that we don't support it, because last time I checked, insurgents, like terrorist insurgents, usually when they want to do something like that, instead of running into a group of running into a whole bunch of people, don't they usually use like bombs of some sort? Now there was something similar that happened out in Germany, where this dude who was of Saudi Arabian descent, you have to forgive me, I'm looking up something, kind of looking up ingredients for cherry coke. um and I'm looking at this product called grenadine. Hmm. Which is apparently it says it's a cocktail syrup made from pomegranate juice, sweetened with cane sugar and flavored with orange flower water. Huh. Okay. But yeah, he ran some, yeah, this Saudi Arabian national living in Germany, no, he used the vehicle to run through people, at some Christmas market out there in Germany. just days before Christmas, and now this. But I say all that to say that I dare say that the terrorism of today, for the most part, is homegrown. It's homegrown. And ironically enough, the vast majority of people who are doing that shit are ex-military, veterans, people who served this country, people who took vows to fight the very insurgency that many of them apparently are now aligning themselves with. They vowed. So basically, they're turning into the very villains that they vowed to fight and destroy. I mean, could it be that they're going through what Harvey Dent said on that Batman movie, where either you died a hero or you live long enough to watch yourself become the villain? Is that what's going on with them? Or is it that or is it that they're just now much later in life, mind you, are now feeling the sting of betrayal that I felt years ago from my own country. And upon realizing that, they just crash out. Because, the guy who did I don't know much about the Vegas attack. No, that's still new because, the thing that's been on the news for the most part is this attack that happened down there in Bourbon Street down in New Orleans. That's been the highlight. Vegas, kind of not so much, but the Vegas attack's been picking up some ground. Apparently, the dude got the Cybertruck from Denver, of all places. And it really don't surprise me because since last year, I've been looking at these different types of Batmobiles they got out here. That's what I just called it. I didn't even know, before the attack, I didn't even know the names of these cars. To me, they're just, they call them Cybertrucks, but to me, they just look like cars. They really look like some Batmobile type shit off of Batman type shit. I don't know what they were called. And go figure, they're made by Tesla. Of course they are. One of these damn 21st century future cars, right? And here we are 25 years into the 21st century, and we just now. Yeah, I know we're a big disappointment to the people of the 1900s who probably didn't even make it to the year 2000, thinking that the 21st century was just going to be on a whole nother level, like on some Star Trek, Star Wars type shit. And all we got to show for the future is a Cybertruck and all these other gadgets, but nothing, no flying cars yet. That's for sure. Hey, no Death Stars, no Millennium Falcons, no X-Wings that can go into hyperspace. No, we ain't there yet. But I'm pretty sure a lot of this is coming from a position of betrayal where they feel like they probably been abandoned. And what better way to feel that sense of abandonment than being in a situation where you're in a financial bind and the very military that you serve is no longer, because you were excuse me, because you were honorably discharged and no longer have any affiliation with that army, even though you was probably the top tier killer going around the world, policing the world. And here you are back in bullshit ass Beaumont, Texas, and now you in the struggle. And despite having at some point a seemingly successful real estate business, that withered to nothing, to the nothingness of the void. And now you in the struggle. It's really almost like a sense of red pill rage, kind of like Chris Dorner. Y'all remember that cat about 10 years ago? Again, vet. Because wasn't that nigga like a Navy SEAL or something? That bro, I think dude was like Chris Dorner was like a. Not only was he in the Navy, I want to say he was a Navy SEAL. Bro was a Navy SEAL, bro, before he joined LAPD. And then he finally got his. I mean, not even so much his Negro wake up call, just his wake up call. Period of, just the insidiousness of the LAPD, the insidiousness of America. Period. And again, he crashed out. Because upon realizing that he discovered the insidiousness of the LAPD, he got fired. So I'm just saying, I find it strange that a lot of these so-called terrorist attacks, which they are, they definitely are, while we're blaming outside sources like ISIS, it's coming from within. Like we're supposed to take vows against terrorism, both foreign and domestic, but a lot of these attacks have been domestic. And they're coming from, these attacks, for the most part, are coming from the very same people who vowed to take the fight to terrorism, be it foreign or domestic. The very people who vowed against it. Now, with that said, 13 minutes in, the continuation of that is really another video for another time. Because so I'm kind of, y'all gonna have to forgive me because I'm pretty much gonna switch over to another tangent. I'm just bringing up current events, so y'all forgive me for bringing that to a screeching halt, because I couldn't help but notice. But I will say this much: I'm not in the least surprised, and it makes me that much more. It makes me that much more grateful for the structure of my life, if you will, for lack of better words, the way my life has been structured, by which, because again, I don't know if I told y'all this, I was a would-be Marine at one point. I was a would-be cop. Classic career paths for people of my ilk, because it's very commonplace for people, once they get out of the military, to become cops. And there was a time, like, before I even graduated high school, that I slick wanted to join the Marines. In fact, I still remember going out there to train with them. And that was probably the closest thing to boot camp that I will get. Then, you fast forward some 4 years later, I'm up here calling myself trying to be a police officer. I mean, having no idea what I was signing up for. None whatsoever. So just imagine my gratitude. You fast forward some 18 years later in our current state here in 2025 as a 39-year-old, when I can look back at all that bullshit as well as the bullshit that I endured. And I'm glad of the fact that I never engaged. But a lot of the problems that I faced, I'm finally starting to dissect a lot of why I had to go through so much shit dealing with American society. Not just in Memphis, but in Denver as well. Because I'm damn near, I've damn near been in this city, my new city, for 10 years now. And it's like I've run into a whole different type of assholes. But at face value, you would think that they're a whole different type. But as much shit as I talk about these damn Denverites, I'm coming to realize something very horrific. Very horrific. And I probably already said this before in past videos. But the horror that I'm learning about Denver and their rude culture and everything that we know Denver to be is that these people are just as equally fucked up, if not even more fucked up, than folks in Memphis. Because those of y'all who are like my day ones, y'all know I stayed on Memphis's neck. I stayed talking fucked up about Memphis. Every time I get on here and talk about Memphis, y'all know it ain't gonna be nothing sweet. Unless I'm talking about the cuisine out there, the quality of food out there, the restaurants out there, which is Memphis's only redeeming quality, and the water. It's only redeeming quality. Besides that, I'm not gonna have anything good to say about Memphis. And I've shared in many of expats' frustration and dealings and just the whole how do I put it? The whole disposition, if you will, as far as where we stand with these goofy ass locals here in Denver County. Coming out here 7 years ago, I ran into people who expressed their displeasure for this place. And mind you, this was 2017. We're talking about basically 2.5 years before the pandemic, because I came out here in October of 2017. And I didn't get it at first. Now, I've been meaning to make this video for a very long time. Because back when I was in Memphis, my job was basically to be a mediator to explain and describe the nuances of Memphis that an outsider would most likely miss. Things that make Memphis Memphis, so that so that if you're coming to a place like Memphis from either, I don't know, Chicago or LA or Houston or hell, Denver, it was my job to be the mediator to basically tell your hard-headed ass that if you go to a place like Memphis, God help you. God help you. Because you don't know what you're getting yourself into, bro. You just don't. And I went out of my way to layer out all the aspects that make Memphis Memphis. But as I've said, and as y'all know, it's been 7 years since I haven't been in Memphis. And since I left in 2017, October 2017, I haven't gone back. I haven't gone back. But in those 7 years, I've been in a city that despite its economic advantage, despite its economic power that it clearly has over Memphis, it still has its perks. It still has its problems that I have personally encountered. But I'll say this much: it ain't nothing that a city like Memphis has prepared me for. Even with all the shit that Denver has thrown my way, right? You would think these mofos, because I mean, let me try to rephrase that. These mofos would probably think that someone like me, whom they recognize ain't from here, would see that, be in my fifis, get hurt, and pack my bags and tuck my tail and run off back to wherever it is I came from, crying wee all the way home. Right? How wrong are these goddamn alky, bushwhacking, Southern Comfort, booze drinking, methamphetamine and fentanyl abusing Denverites? How wrong are they? How wrong are they? And I'm here for the audience. Why we're here? We're here to talk about a little nasty element about Denver that I'm amazed, is hardly swept under the, that I'm amazed has been, covered, because I imagine for quite some time it's been swept under the rug until now. Because ever since I came out here, I have faced Denver's rudeness. I have faced its mistreatment. Despite being a contributing factor to Denverite society, even more so than the Denverites they got themselves. And I was just thinking, the same thing applied to Memphis. But the funny thing about Denver and Memphis is that even before I left Memphis, I said that if I lived in a city that only had a fraction, I mean, and by a fraction, I mean had a half of Memphis's foolishness, I could do that city. In other words, Memphis, this can pertain, seeing that, in other words, my message to Memphis is if you were half the city that Denver is, and Denver is some straight bullshit, take it from me. But if Memphis were half the city that Denver is, I wouldn't have had to have left Memphis. And shame on you motherfuckers in Memphis sending me over to these Denverites, these bullshit ass Denverites, so that they can suffer an ass whooping that really belongs to you. Shame on you. Much less what they put me through. And it's an ass whooping that they gonna get because they deserve it on their own accord. But Memphis, you are responsible for sending me over, for creating such a bullshit environment, that would cause me to pack my bags and set my baggage for exile, so that there's even more of a brain drain, so that I come over here to another city that's infested with a cesspool and brain drain and whatnot. Some of the dumbest motherfuckers you ever want to run into, even dumber than the Memphians, I dare say. And I'm like, how do you get lower than the Memphian? How does that even happen? So once again, just as I used to talk fucked up about Memphis, this video will be devoted to me talking fucked up about Denver. And one of the sores that I'm gonna pick on Denver is the dating scene out here. And like I said, this is a topic that I imagine for quite some time has been swept under the rug. And I can't help but notice the irony of the similarities between Denver and Memphis when it comes to quote unquote the dating scene. Because it goes without saying that Memphis has a pretty shit dating scene. In fact, when I was living in Memphis, it may have been only 2 times, not even, that I saw a date. And that's not including the dates that I had been on with the women that I managed to court. But since I've been out here in Denver, I haven't seen, no guys and no gals being out here on no dates. And like I said, it's a thing out here because the dating scene out here is shit. And there are people on YouTube. There are people out here on YouTube who talk about, they give all these different reasons about why the dating scene in Denver is so atrocious. And usually, they'll go into things like, well, it's a lot of gay people here. They got the whole LGBT thing going on. Then there's this whole dog culture that they have out here. Like where no one's really paying you never mind unless you have a dog. So many factors. Then there's the cost of living here because it's sky high to live in Denver and really Colorado, period. So many factors, right? So many. But surely enough, there are elements, there are things that are being left out about all that. And that's where I come into play. Someone who's been here long enough to be considered, at this point, a Denverite. Because my Tennessean ass might be a new Denverite, an expat, somebody who's not welcome here. But let's face the facts. I've been here, come October of this year, it'll be 8 years that I've been here. So practically, I'm a new Denverite, a new Colorado. And that's for those locals of this town who get a hold. My message to you is, you've done all kinds of fuck shit to run me up out your town. But somebody should have told your punk Colorado ass, I'm from Memphis. First of all, I'm from Memphis. Second of all, I'm here to stay. Regardless of you and your fuck shit. And I'm here to contribute to Coloradan society way more than your bullshit Colorado ass, your bullshit garbage Colorado ass ever could or would. While you out here bitching, moaning, and griping about all these expats and people and doing the most because you just don't want people who ain't from around here to be living here. And this ties, don't think, like, bear with me. This goes into the whole dating scene, but I'm gonna mix my own experiences into that as far as the quote unquote dating scene out here. Y'all just might find it hilarious, so bear with me as I synchronize the dating scene along with my own personal experiences here in Colorado, many of which have been outright disgusting. From the locals, that is. Because, the locals, they like to blame expats because, Denver is pretty much, so they say it's 50-50. Like they say that half of the people who live in Denver aren't even from Denver. So they like to shovel shit at the expats as if it's the expats, people from out of town, who are coming out here making this place so horrible. Like with the crime, like the traffic. And to a more or less extent, that might be true, given, because there's this thing going on out here in the West where a lot of Californians, as we know, and I've been on this, are having an exodus where they're branching out to other parts of the West. And their fellow Westerners, and, with California being in the West too, despite all that, people from Ohio, I said Ohio, I meant to say Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, hell, even Arizona and Nevada, they're not very, and of course Colorado, they're not very welcoming towards the Californians. And the Texans neither, apparently. But, I don't think the rest of the West has to worry so much about Texans, but Colorado apparently does, because most of the expats who come to Colorado apparently are either from California or Texas. But the expats that I've run into, first of all, I'm not from California or Texas. I'm from Tennessee. And other expats that I've run into, they're not from Texas either, or California. And I've met quite a few Californians out here. So they're here. And the Californians that I have run into, as well as other expats, are here for one thing and one thing only. They're here for the very same reason I'm here. To basically start over again, to basically wipe the slate clean. from a foundation back in their hometowns, just like my hometown, that was premised on bullshit. A foundation built on sinking sand. As if staying there, being there, and dealing with it was even an option. And for some odd reason, this Coloradan refuses to understand it and refuses to care, because that's just part of their culture. This whole laissez-faire, like, and I mean, and not even realizing where many of us are even coming from when we come to this place. When we come to cow shit, Colorado. And I say that because it literally smell like, it's been a while since I've smelt it. But I'm from the South. I'm from the Mid-South. So it's not like I haven't run into my with the Agri Center and Shelby Farms and whatnot. It's not like I haven't run into my share of pig shit and cow shit, across these roads. I mean, across these roads, across Tennessean roads, Memphis roads, especially traversing across, like I said, across Shelby Farms and the Agri Center, just before you get into Cordova, coming from Memphis. But the thing about it is that we expats all saying the same exact thing. We've shared in similar experiences. I've like I said, I've seen people get on a boat, a train, not a boat, but a plane, and leave Colorado with a fucked up taste in their mouth, talking about how fucked up Colorado is. I'm pretty sure I've told y'all my own personal stories of how I've been treated like a homeless person, because Colorado does indeed have a homeless problem, a huge homeless problem that's probably second in the nation to California's, only bested by California, another libtard state, mind you, I may add. Right? And all the things I had to experience due to that. Not stinking, and not having fucked up clothes or anything like that. Most of my clothes coming from Bass Pro and the mall. But it didn't take me too long. And I mean, I always saw it for the gaslight that it was, that if I just dress like this and dress like that, that the people of Colorado would treat me better. Now, how believable of a statement is that? When my dress out here in Colorado was no different and no better than the way a lot of people in Colorado dress. Now think about it. I was pulled to the side. I was called out for dressing in the same way, or at the very least a similar way, that the Coloradans themselves dress. Except their clothes are actually dirty and way dirtier than mine. I mean, you can tell because it's like stains, like homeless type stains, like, oh, I ain't washed my shit in 6 months type shit. rags. Plus the fact that they stink, and they all stink. Even the ones who are in professional attire. I can't tell you how many of these people I've seen wearing jeans, wearing suits, wearing tuxes and whatnot, and I can smell their funky ass. A lot of them look stank. A lot of them are stank, but they up here telling me about my dress attire when, at worst, I dress like, basically like a college kid. Because, and that namely being due to the fact that of my work environment. I work in a warehouse. So working in the warehouse doesn't necessitate, it doesn't require wearing the tux, wearing and getting out here and basically being on some zoot suit type shit. And this time of the year, I allow my beard to grow out, like on some mountain man shit. And because I'm a black man, that's supposed to be a no-no, and that in and of itself is a hypocrisy that I openly challenge up until the summer when it gets hot again. Then I get my hair cut and get spruced up, only because it's hot and I don't want to be carrying all that hair. But this is the time of the year that I do carry a lot of hair, because one, I don't know how long I got left before I can keep my hair, because I think I told y'all about I'm seeing thin patches in my hair. And, I'm doing the whole, I'm doing, castor oil, taking Nutrafol, because it's folks 10 years, 12 years younger than me losing their hair. Got a whole receding hairline. Or really just bald. And I'm like, not me. And, I think, no doubt, that the dry air of Colorado has played a role in, fucking with my hair. Because I remember a few years back, it's gotten better, thank God. But I remember a few years back, I slick had a bald spot. But I've been using like hair products like Bald Be Gone, and I see that the patch has kind of been that's been covered up. So I like to think I nipped that in the bud, but there are still like at the top of my crown where my hair is kind of thinning, and I don't think it requires no hair transplant or nothing like that. But I'm basically fighting a good fight and making sure that I'm keeping my hair moisturized so that the elements don't get to it. So it wasn't even the clothes. So what could it have been that made me so exceptional? Could it be that I'm black? Well, how could that be? Because it's black people in Colorado. It's hella black folks in Colorado. And while they damn sure don't make up the majority, there's definitely more than enough of them. Shit, you need go no more further than Aurora to find that out. Because they hella deep out there. Because it seems like no matter where I go, I just can't shake these niggas. So it's not even that. But I finally come to realize something before I get into the crux of my video. Y'all bear with me. Why Denver has been putting me through so much shit since I've been out here. With the fakeness, the phony, everything that we've learned about this place. The fakeness, the phoniness, the patronizing. You know, for the longest I had people up here basically fucking with me, thinking that, you know, calling themselves being generous, giving me some money. Cause like I said, they think I'm out here either out in the streets or in a shelter type shit. And since I've been out here, I've been making money and getting ready to make some more. And I'm like, why is that? Because I refuse to put on the suit. But you know, I'm a lot more attuned to human nature than most people ever would or could or will give me credit for. In other words, I know when a motherfucker's pulling my chain. And the fact that so many people can't seem to understand that, don't realize that, especially in this late date, like I'm some complete social retard, it's a complete insult to my intelligence. But I'm here to tell you, it goes on even to this very day. Because even for people way back when, who thought that they was funning me, the only reason why you thought you was funning me, motherfucker, is because I let you think that you was funning me. I allowed you to think that you was funning me, that you was one-upping me, that you was being slick. And the fact that you bought it, like you bought that, you thought I was like, hey, I mean, you ever heard of playing dumb? Them motherfuckers back in Memphis swore I was dumb. Never bearing in mind that I was only playing dumb. I'm talking about coworkers, I'm talking about classmates. Motherfuckers I had to run into in school, back in grade school. Thought they was out here pulling all kinds of okie dokes. And now that I am mentioning Memphis, because this is all synchronized. The way I've been treated here in Denver is in conjunction to how I used to be treated back in Memphis, for the most part. Because at some point, it kind of sort of stopped. You know, back when I was like my last years in Memphis, when I was stuck in the trenches. Because I was real young back then, before, you know, I was in the trenches, before I was in the struggle. And basically had to fight my way out of Memphis to, like I said, start my life over again, start with a new clean slate type shit. And you know, for years I couldn't figure out, for a guy who was supposedly non-select, right? Because, you know, I got just as much of a success story as the next guy when it comes to members of the opposite sex. And maybe that was one of the reasons why I never considered myself a pretty boy. And even though I've been told all my life, ever since I was a little boy, that I was handsome, and I still get told that to this day, I never let that shit go to my head. But at some point, coming out here, it's almost like I was literally forced. This place has literally forced me to acknowledge to acknowledge, in addition to the fact that I have access to a thing called YouTube that gives me access to certain websites, or not websites, but certain videos that, basically exposes human nature in its rawest, most demonic form. But coming out here, it revealed why not only I've been dealing with what I've been dealing with here, but why I've been dealing with what I had to deal with back over there. And a lot of that bullshit, for real, because, like I said, when you grow up, even though you've been told you've been handsome, that shit, and you've been in the trenches, you don't qualify that shit. I never qualified that shit. I had too rough of a life to be sitting up here tooting my horn talking about how handsome I am. And plus, I ain't had the results to show that shit. I ain't had the receipts. I'm like, I ain't had nothing to show for it. I ain't no supermodel. I ain't been up there walking on the catwalk. I ain't no porn star. I say that because I'm like, shit, okay, I'm so handsome. Let me get on this set and, like, shit, have sex with all these sexy ass women. I'm so handsome, right? But I'm coming to realize now, via this place, that the reason why I caught so much hell, even here, as well as what used to be back home, is because, and I finally had to come to realize, it's because I am indeed a handsome man. And with that comes a lot of hater energy. I couldn't believe it. I was flabbergasted. I was sitting up there like, you mean to tell me, after all the Elliot Rodgers that I've seen, after all the black pill content about guys, having square jaws, glass jaws, and how women don't find that attractive, and all that other jazz, right? That the bullshit that I'm getting is actually because I'm handsome. Now think about it. Me dressing in a similar fashion as the Coloradans. What sets me apart? I dress like them, right? So I should look like them, right? Wrong. And see, here's the thing about the dating aspect nobody wants to talk about this place. Not only do I not look like your typical Coloradan because I'm not black, because I am black and not one of them, I'm set apart because I don't look like a black dude from Colorado. I just don't. Because the gene pool out here has been so, I dare say, saturated with the same. Because, for a minute, it took me a long time to figure this out. There were certain things about this place that it went beyond the stank face, the stank butt, the feminist thing they got out here, the LGBT, all the elements that make Denver, Denver. The drugs, that plays a role, no doubt. All those things play a role, no doubt. But what about the genetics? Because, me and my brother, we used to talk to each other, and we still kind of do about this, because, my brother lives out here too, because he came out here just 2 months after I did. And I guess that's just who we are. We really are some Sherlock Holmes type niggas. especially when we're running into all kinds of abnormalities and weird shit that I'm like, nah, we don't sweep that under the rug. We don't let that get. We don't let that get past us. And my brother pointed out, because I was always looking at these folks like, maybe they're inbreds. I suspected them to be inbreds. Because at one point, I just started looking at the motherfuckers. And like I said, not to toot my horn, but at some point, not only did I realize that I was handsome, it made me realize that these motherfuckers are ugly as hell out here. And it reminded me, back when I did ninjutsu back in Memphis, and my sensei talked about one time he went out to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and he said that the people down there are probably on some inbreeding shit because they all look the same, like brother, sister. Like it was to him, it was just weird. It was phenomenal. And I was like, well, shit, that's what I said about these people here. And you know that they're local because they look the same. The average Denverite, because yes, the black people here, and they look all fucked up, and they are all fucked up. And to me, and you looking at an even lesser version of Memphians who ain't even got no identity. That's the black Denverite for your ass. And apparently that's probably the black dude of the West. Because one of my ninjutsu brethren, it's almost like, like me saying one of my fraternity brothers, because to me that was a fraternity practically. Well, he lives in Utah now, and he basically said the same thing about the black folks out there, that they just all kinds of fucked up. Like they on some more shit. They just on some more shit. Like don't even identify with their blackness type shit. Probably identify to a more or less extent of black culture, because that they do out here, but it's on some goofy shit. And like I said, what would you expect? Wouldn't expect anything less from Colorado. From Colorado. Like they basically forgot who they are, type shit. But besides that, the two main races out here, needless to say, are white folks and Latinos. And it'll be like these folks out here. There'll be like certain people you can almost tell they're like a mixture of the both. And I've noticed that amongst the men and the women out here, and I'll be the first one to say that the combination is ugly as hell because they ugly as hell. Ugly as a motherfucker. And a lot of these people out here are missing teeth. Not only are they missing teeth, it's bad enough that a lot of them are missing their teeth. But a lot of these folks' teeth is some of the most crooked grills that you've ever seen, bro. I'm talking about like y'all know Melina off Mortal Kombat? Like Melina and Baraka off Mortal Kombat? They grills look better than some of these folks. These folks will have Melina and Baraka off Mortal Kombat cringing type shit. These people's grills out here would have English and Japanese folks cringing out here. That's how fucked up they grills are out here. They missing teeth. They teeth is all over the place. Like somebody stuck a small grenade up in that motherfucker and blew it, and yeah, and covered their mouths and it blew up in that hole. No, these motherfuckers are some real. These motherfuckers are some real hop on pop, the Cat in the Hat, Dr. Seuss type motherfuckers. The Grinch that stole Christmas on some Whoville type motherfuckers. That's what they own. That's what they own. And being out here, that's why, like I said, I'm not here to toot my horn about being handsome or whatnot, but coming out here made me realize, because, you know, in Memphis, it's competitive. Fucked up as Memphis is, it's hella competitive down there. You competing with the next nigga who got the better fade, the better clothes, the bigger muscles, the more money, the more clout. So, I mean, competition's part of the game. And, you know, unless you a drug dealing ass nigga who, like I said, who got the money, got the clout, you need not apply. You need not apply. If you ain't got the clout, you ain't got the cars, you ain't got the girls, you ain't got the jewelry, you ain't got the waves in your head, bruh, you need not apply. Ratchet as Memphis is, I really can't say that Memphis is just dusty like that. But, you know, with mofos like Glorilla coming out the woodwork, you know, Glorilla don't really do Memphis a whole lot of justice like that, for real. Because even Angry Man pointed out that Glorilla is basically on some, what's that shit called? What's that shit? Alcohol fetal syndrome type shit. Where you got folks looking like they got mongoloidism, like they part Asian for no reason, and come to find out it ain't got nothing to do with them having mongoloidism or being Asian. It's just the fact that they sorry ass mammies, you know, was drinking alcohol while pregnant. And then they wonder why the baby come out all fucked up, low IQ, looking like a Blasian. Just looking and being all fucked up type shit. And when you think, and that's another, speaking of drunkenness, speaking of alcohol, look at all the alcohol that's out here. These motherfuckers love them some alcohol. I thought them niggas down south drank. Now, because there are definitely some aspects about the West that do trump the South when it comes to ratchetness. Now, when it comes to murder and mayhem and all that, yeah, the South takes the cake, especially my city, yeah. And, you know, Memphis has its share of carjackings too, no doubt. Like, niggas be carjacking like a motherfucker in Memphis. But I think Denver takes the cake when it comes to carjacking, as well as drinking. And, you know, both cities have so much in common. And it's just my luck to share in on the experience. Because, like I said, I lived in Memphis 27 years, bro. So it's just my luck to come to a place that even has even the slightest amount of similarities when it comes to a place like Memphis, as far as the mentality. And the only irony that, like I said, I can truly appreciate is basically Denver basically being an isotope of Memphis, a city that's not with the same amount of bullshit as Memphis, but has all the elements that no longer, I mean, that not only can a nigga use to survive, but also even thrive. Something I just couldn't do in Memphis. But you know, my brother one time pointed out, as I speculated about the whole um, thing about potential inbreeding going on out here, is that it's not so much that they're inbreds, even though to a more or less extent they kind of sort of are. It's just that here's the thing when it comes to y'all give me a second, I gotta take a leak. Y'all give me a minute. Excuse me, y'all. I'm back. I had to bleed the weasel a minute for a good second. But back to what I was saying. It's not so much that folks out here are inbred. See, the thing about Denver is, and here's another thing that makes this place Dr. Seuss land and so weird, is the fact that, you know, in Denver has been nicknamed Menver because of this. Because in addition to all the homosexuals running around here, as well as lesbians, and, you know, true that, and all the other he, she's, and freaks, because this is a libtard state, is that there are more men here than women. And I dare say that for quite some time, it's been like that. Like even way back in the time of the old West. So with so few women on hand, with so few women with whom to procreate, these cowboys out here were most likely sharing the same woman, sticking their dinguses in the same woman. Because, so just imagine, you know, being in an environment where instead of the women outnumbering the men 10 to 1, the men outnumber the women 10 to 1. So you got 10 men to 1 woman sticking their dinglings and mixing, you know, having all this genetic mix up and probably not having babies by all the men that's been fucking her, but a few here and a few there. And, you know, they come out looking just like any type of way. Because, like I said, just like Memphis is somewhat of an isolated society, because Memphis is pretty much isolated from the rest of Tennessee. Memphis is just Memphis. And people have been saying that Memphis truly is the reject of the Mid-South. It really is, because it just happens to be situated in Tennessee, but Tennessee don't want nothing to do with Memphis. Arkansas really couldn't care about Memphis. It's got more in common with Mississippi, but I don't think Mississippi's trying to claim much of Memphis either, despite, you know, Mississippi's, you know, its share of horse shit. So Memphis is pretty much just Memphis. It's situated in a state that wants absolutely nothing to do with it. And as we all know, it's ghetto as fuck. It's ratchet as fuck. It's overrun with niggas, Swiss cheesing every chance they get. I mean, it's the definition of urban decay. Likewise, Denver is an isolated city because it's well buried. I mean, it's well situated within the mountains. And while it's got neighboring cities somewhat like, fucking Breckenridge, Greeley, it shares municipalities with fucking bullshit ass Aurora, Fort Collins, Broomfield, if I haven't said that already. Adams County. Now, just to name, all the suburbs that surround the Denver metro. It's pretty much an isolated city, and I imagine it's been like this for quite some time until we expats came out here seeking, in the pursuit of greener pastures. So with that said, these people, these locals, really didn't have any kind of fresh meat just coming in like metropolitan areas, like cities that that have something of an international conglomerate, if you know what I mean. Like, take Berlin for instance. It's not like, Berlin might be a city full of German people and German citizens, but the citizenry, the German census, if you will, is quite diverse, almost almost as diverse as America. Just like, Germany has the same amount, and to pinpoint Germany's capital, Berlin, or we can even use the UK's capital, London. These places, despite having generations upon generations of English and German people, have Africans, have Asians, have, I would say, Latinos. I don't think either or has a whole lot of Latinos, but has, like I said, all kinds of people from Africa, all kinds of people from Asia. Just a melting pot. Kind of like here. Kind of like, no different from what you would find in New York. And I dare submit that even Memphis, despite its bullshit gene pool, which is a gene pool basically full of niggas, I saw all kinds of Africans, Middle Easterners, Asians, and in America's case, Latinos. Memphis definitely had its share of Latinos, particularly of the Mexican and Central American persuasion. But the difference is Colorado practically is Mexico, as is the overwhelming majority of the West. So practically by default, we are in Mexico, practically. The only part of Mexico I'm willing to visit, by the way. This is about as close to Mexico that I want to get. Cause I always had a mind to go down to Mexico. I'm like, nah, nigga, I'm in Mexico. Shit, if you in Utah, Colorado, Nevada, California, Arizona, you basically in Mexico, bro. And I know, I'm fully aware of this war, of the Mexican American War. And you know what happened down in Texas at the Alamo. Yeah, Texas too. You know, I'm fully aware of that war, and I'm fully aware that that Mexico surrendered all that territory to the U.S. after the Alamo. Excuse me, y'all. I was looking for my juice bottle. Nigga get a little thirsty, spitting all this game. So we can detail and explain just exactly what in the hell is going on, at least from a black man's perspective, and not just the Colorado black man, the southern black man who's living in Colorado. All in the hopes of somebody taking my advice and seeing this place for what it is. And if it's in your, I mean, if you can avoid this place, period. But me, I kind of got to sort of live here type shit. Because it's not like I want to go back to Memphis. That I don't want to do. And while these motherfuckers out here be on some more shit, they be out here bullshitting too. Especially in Aurora. That's still, even with all that said, that's still not gonna, because I live in a particularly good neighborhood. Like I said, I live close to Glendale, and I'll say, for all the bullshit they be going around throughout this goddamn city, Glendale's all right. Glendale's an all right spot. Because I don't necessarily live in Glendale, but I live like walking distance to Glendale. Like I literally could, walk there within 5 minutes and I'll be there. It's just this municipality. It's not even a suburb. It's just a municipality of Denver. It's too damn small to be a suburb. It's just the part of Denver that ain't got nearly as much bullshit going on as the rest of the city of Denver got going on. So, having said all that, it really forced me to look at my dating history, at least back in Memphis. And it ain't like I've been putting forth efforts out here, because I'm pretty sure the women that I stepped to probably weren't from here. There was probably one who probably was from here. It was like this white girl with this humongous booty, had the booty of a Greek goddess. But that's okay, because apparently she was and that was in the gym when this certain gym was open. And that's okay, I didn't get her, because apparently she was one of those girls who would work out, right? You know how, like, when you work out, you're supposed to use the shower? You're supposed to take a shower and then leave type shit. She didn't do this. She'll work out, put a winter clothes on, mind you, and just leave. So, yeah, shows you what I missed out on, right? Because even white folks from the South who come out here are finally, like, even they're talking about how goofy the West really is. Like, because there was, and not just in Colorado, apparently there was this woman from Memphis, ironically enough, a white woman from Memphis of all places, who moved to like Seattle, and she said the same. She was basically saying the same thing about how I described these weirdos out here in Colorado. Like, this is the West. This is truly the West. Getting on her own, folks. talking about just how weird, like these white folks are some real white folks. And y'all think y'all run into some white folks down south. Like, yeah, you run into one of them sundown towns. Yeah, you gonna like in Verdell, Texas or Harrison, Arkansas. Yeah, you gonna find you some white folks down there. But no, like all of us, black and white, and we're coming from the south, saying that these white folks some real white folks, like weird type stuff. And like I said, Colorado is so goofy. Like I said, with this, I guess you can call it mestizo. I guess you can call them mestizos. I don't know what you call them, Chicanos, mestizos. I don't know what the fuck they are, but I think this just Colorado's homegrown for the most part. Is like I said, with the population predominating mostly with whites and Latinos. That's what you got out here, and I'm here to tell you that these motherfuckers are ugly than a motherfucker. Ugly than a motherfucker. And then again, on top of that, you add the drugs, you add the alcohol, you add the all the smoke, smoking. You add the bad hygiene. You add the bad oral hygiene. Because I'll tell you something. Memphis females are some of the ugliest motherfuckers I ran into. And they swore they were sexy as fuck. But one thing I can say about most Memphis females is that they don't have fucked up grills. But out here, bruh, that's what I'm saying, bro. How do you get lower? How does that happen? Because to me, coming from my experience, Memphis is the lowest of the low. Like, Memphians are basically the Jamaicans and the Haitians of America. Because we don't just pew pew down there in the Mid-South. We will slice and dice your ass just as quick as we'll pew pew your ass. Even with all the guns down there. Because I saw that incident where there was this dude who wanted to fight this other dude in the warehouse over something about football teams. Because I wanted to talk about that too, as a matter of fact. So these two knuckleheads up here fighting each other, not physically at this point anyway, they're just arguing and having a whole altercation about, because one of the dudes just happened to be like a football coach, grown ass nigga, up here fighting another grown ass man over some football. Because I want to say it happened at some Kroger distribution center warehouse type shit. I slick remember where that was too, because again that's on my turf in Hickory Hood, yeah. Because I told y'all I'm a Hickory Hood nigga, so that's right over on in my backyard. That's why I always say Winchester, Mendenhall, Knight Arnold, Hickory Hill. Shit, my turf where I grew up. And I'll be telling folks that, because when people think about Memphis, man, they think about, again, North Memphis, South Memphis, Whitehaven, Bingham, and for the most part, it's usually just North Memphis, South Memphis. Like they really they forget about the Haven, they forget about the Mound, they forget about, and another thing that goes unannounced for the most is East Memphis, really Southeast Memphis. Because I'll be telling folks, man, it's some parts of because East Memphis is kind of sort of it's hella close to White Haven. In fact, the Haven pretty much is like slick. It's like it's slick split in between Germantown and East Memphis, just a little bit before you go over into like either Germantown one way, or you go into not Horn Lake, Olive Branch, Mississippi. And I'll tell anybody, maybe I might be mistaking it for the Haven. It might just be the Haven, because you know the Nike factory was over where to me I consider that part of Memphis, East Memphis, but for all I know it could be the Haven, so don't quote me on that, but I guarantee you, bro, it's parts of East Memphis you don't want. I'm dead ass that Delta Medical Center is in East Memphis. It's south, just before you get off of American Way and Perkins. To me, that's East Memphis. Now, granted, you close by Southeast Memphis, like you drive a little farther before you get to the airport, and that's pretty much South Memphis, really pretty much the mound just before you get into the heart of South Memphis, like over on Lamar and Democrat, over by FedEx and the airport and whatnot. I say all that to say that it's parts of East Memphis that just ain't to be trifled. El Wooddale was in East Memphis, and that was one of the most ghetto as fuck. Just as ghetto, if not even more ghetto, than the damn Raleigh, Egypt, than the damn Westwood. So I say all that to say that it don't surprise me about this incident that I heard about these two goofy ass, garbage ass niggas getting into it over some damn football, and the nigga wanted to fight the other nigga. And the older bro, because one dude was like 38, the other dude was like in his 50s, and he was a little nigga too. The older dude in his 50s, and he was like, "No, I ain't trying to fight you." Like, going on with it. And then apparently he pulled the younger nigga, the dude about my age, pulled the older nigga's shirt over his head, and he said that man pulled out a whole knife and just juked that nigga. And then after he got through juking him, he slit his throat. I'm like, yeah? I'm like, yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing that I learned about just how different. Because, when you're stuck in the hills of Memphis, you just assume that, this is pretty much what's going on all throughout Black America. But apparently, because for the longest, I used to wonder if, and again, y'all forgive me, I'm getting on the tangent. I figured we got enough time. We just below, 30 minutes before it be 2 hours. But it was a norm. It was a norm for me to carry knives. Now, I had guns. Like I said, you look at all the gun violence in Memphis, like, it's just like any other city, like Baltimore, like Baltimore or Chicago. But I'd be like, another key factor that I would tell you about Memphis is that we carry knives. Like I said, that's what I mean when I say we the Jamaicans and Haitians of America, because we got machete. We got something to slice and dice your ass up. Because for the most part, that's all I had. I didn't have a whole lot of gats, but I had hella knives, I had hella machetes, I had hella swords, and they were all sharp, and they were ready to cut your ass the fuck up. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard just like that. Me walking into the neighborhood, me walking into the neighborhood Walmart and hearing one of the cashiers talk about how some nigga wanted to fight some other nigga and he didn't want to fight him, but the nigga kept on pushing him. So he just pulled out a knife and disemboweled his ass. And dude died right there. Type shit. And how, when we detail stories like that to supposedly Chirac niggas, how them niggas be looking at us with the side eye. Cause I'm like, yeah, in a place like that, they pew pew over there. And I'm like, yeah, nigga, we pew pew too, but we slice and dice. Where I'm from, we use blades on your ass. Like we don't just say that shit. That like, I bet elsewhere that like the shanks and type shit. That's like for jail. Like that's supposed to be used in jail, but no, we use shanks outside the jail. So with that said, you know, growing up in these isolated societies that again have their own culture, have their own fucked up ways of doing shit. And then me coming to the realization of why I had to go through most of the bullshit that I had to go through, and me coming out here to finally realize that and accept that. And then not to mention, let's not add the fact that I do have body game, and I've seen the results of body game. Now, mind you, Colorado and Denver and Boulder are supposed to be quote unquote fit cities, right? These motherfuckers fat than them. These are some of the fattest motherfuckers I've ever seen in my motherfucking life. That's another part I want to point out while we over here talking about Denver's sorry ass dating culture or the lack thereof. I'll be damned if these ain't some of the fattest motherfuckers because it's hard to lose weight out here. I don't know, bro. You can't not work out here and be on some skinny shit unless you an ectomorph. That's why I pretty much traded the treadmill for the weights because it took me coming out here to realize that weight training is actually superior to cardio when it comes to losing weight. Well, it's supposed to be anyway, because I ain't gonna lie, nigga then got big, but it comes with the territory because I'm building muscle. But with that said, my fat ratio is about, besides having okay, yeah, I can't cap because, my gut is getting kind of big. And then, it's going to my love handles. I think I explained it, how my body works. But it's not like it's so poked out that I'm just a whole hamburger looking ass nigga. Weight gain comes with the territory when you building muscle. And my muscles have been more pronounced than my fat, clearly, because I've been out here and it ain't even so much the females that's recognizing the niggas body game, because like I said, but it's it's jealous ass niggas out here, and I've been online, and we're all saying that, we're all coming together saying that body game is real because these niggas getting out here hating. And to me, that's crazy, bro. And that's another thing. They're unattractive from a genetic perspective. They drink, they smoke. The food culture out here sucks. And they don't lift weights. They ain't got no body game. I mean, some do. The far and few. The far and few. I'm just thinking back to this gym I used to go to before it closed. There was one nigga, he had like 380 on the bench. Nigga was swole as a motherfucker. But he probably wasn't even from there. Who's to say he probably was just visiting? Because it ain't every day you run into mofos like that out here. Because Denver's so-called fit culture I was on this shit back in my mid 20s, and it's like to me. So to me, it's like, you know what I'm saying. It's like something that they pride themselves off of that's so mediocre because it's something that you did years ago, and now you've kind of stepped your game up because the whole thing about me being on cardio and calisthenics was due to the fact that I didn't have weights at the time. So my priority was fitness, like true genuine fitness, and I don't regret it too because to this day, like I can walk for miles. Because like just like today, I was looking for this because they have these out here. They have these little pamphlets and things from which they're basically giving out free books. That I guess that's just a culture fuck if I know. Where they'll have these little things where like not just books, like furniture too. Like they'll have a sign up saying free stuff. And I remember a few days ago on my way to work, I saw this book on Hebrew for Dummies, and I remember I had a book similar to that. I had a Hebrew for Dummies, but it ended up getting rained on or some water damage, so I had to get rid of it. So I saw it out there, and I went way past where I was supposed to go, like way, way past, like probably a mile and a half type shit. So needless to say, when I was taking the bus, I went so far off the map that when I stopped it, because I knew at some point, it had to stop. That I had to stop, like past this little shopping center in the middle of a neighborhood, ironically enough. And so that pretty much required me to go on a little hiking course uphill. But as far as it was, I'm pretty sure it took less than 30 minutes to get up there because by the time I got to the book, or I finally found it and made my way back, there was another bus that was heading back because these buses pretty much come in, depending on the day, they come from anywhere from 30 minutes to 1 hour intervals, like back and forth. So I finally made my way back, and it was pretty far, pretty fucking far. I found a little booth, stashing all the books. I found the Hebrew book and I snatched it. And then shortly after I did that, there was a bus that was coming back, to take me back home. So I scurried along the way. And I say all that to say that the foundation upon which I was able to do that most likely came from the fact of just the years that I spent running in my 20s and my 30s. And were it not for that foundation, I wouldn't have been able to do that without pouting and being just tired as a motherfucker. Now, with that said, I'm pretty sure I can't run 8 miles flat like I used to. I'm pretty sure I can run 2 miles flat like I used to. But it's a new day. It's a new day. And I'm glad I got the foundation of calisthenics and cardio because I needed it. I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way where, like I said, I start with cardio and calisthenics, build my lung strength up, as well as, yeah, my heart too, heart muscle from via cardio, and then go to the weights. And that's what I did, and that's what I'm doing. Because sometimes I be feeling some type of way about the fact, but muscles ain't nothing without wind no way. So, like I said, and I put in years of jogging, doing pull ups, doing push ups and dips and all that, but not really prioritizing strength training, even though I still did it. My max for the most part was, on a good day, was still 205. So it's not like I just neglected strength training altogether. Anaerobic exercises, just I focus more so on aerobic exercises. And like I said, since I switched up and basically because I've been on some body game stuff. It's just back then I was leaner. I had the body, I had the physique, of a runner. So smaller mass, thinner waist, needless to say. But now, I'm plumping up a little bit, but I'm building muscle. My muscles are growing because I'm getting stronger. And it's just now, because it does kind of take me back to 2010, that where I was pumping iron, and that was before I started doing all the cardio, that people would notice and basically accuse me of being like a football player type stuff, or playing some, or being an athlete. Really, it's crazy because back then when I was fat as fuck, but I had some degree of muscle, even though my max at the time was only like 230. Yeah, my max at the time was 230, and I was being accused of being an athlete then, versus when I was running all over the place. Like that was the real athleticism, if you ask me. But now, since last year, since I've been pumping iron and basically putting on, increasing my bench press by 40 pounds since the beginning of last year. Yeah, like the hate is real. The hate is really real. And we've all been getting online. We've all been getting online. Us brothers have been getting online, swapping out game like body game, and how men and women really are reacting to that, as well as handsome game. As far as why is it that women will hate on men who are handsome because they think they're cuter than them. They think they competing with them, and it's finally bringing perspective to that shit. We're finally gaining perspective, and with that perspective gained, you start to realize that, just like with Memphis and all the things to recognize the bust downtown, I recognize that Denver is nothing but a bust downtown, and that Dayton ain't even nothing worth doing in the first place in this town. And that's the irony. That's the coup de grace, that I'm here to basically throw garbage ass Denver under the bus. As far as, I'm like, yo, Dayton scene sucks. It ain't nothing out here worth dating in the first fucking place. What are you talking about? Any more than it is back down in bullshit ass Memphis. What are you talking about? Because sometimes, and it ain't no excuse. This ain't no excuse to not be doing this. But I feel some people. I kind of feel I can honestly understand where they coming from when they say that where they from whatever bullshit part of Timbuktu that they from, that it ain't nothing in they town worth doing 3,000 sit-ups for. That's why I don't trip too much on my abs now. At some point, I'm gonna go to the ab lab, get my core, at least better looking, because I'm in my bulking phase now. I'm just focused on getting as strong as I can, at least before the summer. But I ain't no full blown pot belly ass nigga, or dad bod having ass nigga. And I'm already starting to piss a lot of people off. But then again, I was doing that. I was doing that even back when I was on my track runner type shit. Because I came out here, still being a track runner, still trying to run damn near every day and whatnot, trying to keep up this facade of keeping my body weight down. And then, I just found a better way to do it. Because, like I said, I'm a mix between an ecto and an endomorph. And it just became impractical to be out here running every single day. But, lifting weights and doing the cardio that I do anyway on a daily basis, walking up and down to and from work after getting dropped off by the bus, that was more. I realized that was more than enough to rev up my metabolism and made me realize that I actually get hungrier. I finally found a way to rev up my metabolism, because when I was running all the time, that was kind of keeping my metabolism down. Like, I didn't get hungry like that. Then had the nerve to wonder why I couldn't lose no weight. Because I guess my body had gotten so used to just running, because I'd been doing it for years. But when I started pumping iron and getting stronger doing that, that's when my metabolism came back, and I knew that from just the fact that a nigga would be hungry. So if I can switch that, I came a long way. Like I said, I don't want to cuss. I don't want to curse the fact that I spent all those years running and whatnot. Like I said, that was the foundation of fitness that I needed, so that I can be out here walking a mile, 2 miles, a mile and a half, however long it took me to walk from where I was displaced up until I found that booth. Things like that. And not be gassed out. And not be gassed out. I mean, that's how you get win. Versus just, trying to hit the boxing, do the whole boxing thing. Trying to hit the heavy bag and whatnot. That's why I don't even really prioritize just, doing a whole lot of jogging like that, because I've been doing it for for so many years. It's almost like a weird kind of muscle memory type thing. So I just wanted to point that out, that, as expats living in Colorado, we're basically dealing with a cesspool. And who would know better when it comes to things of a cesspool than somebody who left a cesspool just to end up in another cesspool? I mean, who would know better? And very similar too. Because even, Denver, the thing about it too is that Denver is so ass. It just had me thinking, Denver is so ass. Because even with Memphis's ratchetness, even with the Glorillaz, even with the lowest common denominator of a garbage ass Memphis nigga, even Memphis has gained a certain amount of clout and popularity in mainstream media and just America in general that Denver never has. Ain't that crazy? That's what I'm saying. And I used to feel so bad for coming from a bullshit ass city like Memphis. Because, with its fucked up history and all that, going back to the civil rights era and whatnot. But, out here, even with all the racism that I've encountered out here, and like I like to think that part of one of the reasons why I encountered, because I told y'all about the story about how I got trespassed. I'm pretty sure that was because of Body Game, and that was, or really not even Body Game, because I was still the track star back then, but that was probably just Handsome Game, because that bitch who apparently trespassed me for no apparent reason, that bitch was ugly than a motherfucker. She looked like whatever kind of mestizo class, like I said, between the Latinos and white folks they got here, like the love child of that. And ugly than a motherfucker, and look stank than a motherfucker. A titless freak. And for the locals, yeah, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here. Basically, the shit on your goofy ass, garbage ass city that has even lesser clout than my fucked up city back in Memphis than you do, and you make more, and y'all got more money than Memphis does. That, mind you, like I said, wasn't even bestowed by you. It was bestowed upon you by the Texans and the Californians, whom y'all shun so much. But you know what? You know what I just thought about doing something? I'm so glad that I finally came to this point, because it's definitely time. It's definitely time for a very don't ever disrespect me session. Damn Skippy. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. And I will devote these last 10 minutes of this goofy ass video after taking a huge dump. And I told y'all that I'm coming for the jugular, as he's like, you don't do that, bro. You don't put me, you don't have me. What you don't do, Colorado? Let me tell you something, Colorado. What you don't do is not give a damn about a motherfucker who's coming to your city, contributing to your city, and giving them a hard time. That's what you don't do. Especially a motherfucker like me. Coming from where I come from, where we roast motherfuckers like you wouldn't dare come to my city acting the way weird. Man, we check the shit out your Rocky Mountain bulldog looking ass. Check the shit out your Western version of a honky tonk face ass. Check the shit out your Whoville resident looking ass. Yo, where the wild things are character face ass. Yo, Dr. Seuss character looking ass. Goofy ass nigga. Let's go on do this, Ross. Denver, don't you ever disrespect me with your bullshit ass. With your bullshit ass homeless population and your fentanyl running around. With your homeless population eating all kinds of crack, meth, and fentanyl sandwiches. And I got people up here late, all stretched out up and down this motherfucker, especially during this time of the year, where if they not dying from the drugs, they dying from the cold. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me up here showing hostility towards us expats when we contribute more to Colorado society than you ever would or could. Got Colorado looking all kinds of fucked up. Don't you ever disrespect me like that. Don't you ever disrespect me having a higher vehicular homicide and car fatality rate than Memphis and and LA put together, because you motherfuckers just for whatever reason can't drive worth a goddamn. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me calling yourself disrespecting me when there are at least 3 companies from Memphis in your city. You got AutoZone, St. Jude, and what's the other? FedEx. You up here biting the hand that's been feeding you, motherfucker. And my city broke as hell. At least it is with me. The wealth is just mismanaged. And even with all that said, we putting jobs out here in Denver. Memphis based companies. And not just Denver, America. And even Mexico and Puerto Rico, like with AutoZone. Not to say that I fuck with AutoZone, I'm just saying. contributing more to Colorado society than the Coloradans they goddamn selves. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me getting on these RTD buses, pissing and shitting yourself, talking about that you don't want nobody outside of Colorado coming to live here. Don't you ever disrespect me having all these R2D2 looking motherfuckers and all these motherfuckers in these wheelchairs taking up all kinds of space on the RTD bus, along with the homeless, along with the trifling crackheads and smackheads pissing and shitting themselves on the bus. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me. And yeah, let me point this out to the DPD. Don't you ever disrespect me, falsely accusing me of heinous crimes when you out here taking all kinds of bribes. Don't you ever disrespect me, pulling me to the side, singling me out, calling yourself trying to trespass me because you a ugly motherfucker. That cop who trespassed me was uglier than a motherfucker. The manager who stood behind that bullshit was uglier than a motherfucker. Don't you ever disrespect me. Knowing damn well it's all kinds of homeless stank motherfuckers up and down that area on Broadway where that Office Depot is, and that Office Depot and that Safeway is. Y'all some of the stankiest, ugliest, drunkest, shittiest, and stankiest motherfuckers I've ever run into. Don't you ever disrespect me. Y'all ugly as hell. Y'all stanky as hell. Don't you ever disrespect me looking like and literally emulating the very characters off of South Park. No wonder, and they got that right, because they from Matt Parker and Trey Stone are from Colorado. And I'm here to tell you everything that they got on that. Everything that they, every single detail, like and I mean per episode, every single episode describes Colorado to a T. To a T. Believe me when I say that. Colorado or Denver specifically, don't you ever disrespect me like that. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me calling me a nigger, but you homeless and you out here sleeping in the snow. At least I got a roof over my head, motherfucker. At least I can afford rent, motherfucker. Don't you ever disrespect me trying to be on some false accusatory shit and then have the nerve to get mad at the nigga when he swell up on your ass because I got body game and you calling yourself a fit town, but you really a fat town because you fatter than the motherfuckers down south. Don't you ever disrespect me like that. Colorado, don't you ever disrespect me like that. Don't you ever disrespect me calling yourself being fine this and sexy that when niggas in this town don't even fuck with you like that and would rather not. And don't you ever disrespect me calling yourself being fine and sexy when the niggas can't stand your ass so much they'd rather just go gay and deal with themselves. Hence all the LGBT going on out here. Don't you ever disrespect me like that. These bitches are so ugly in this town, niggas out here find, I mean, it's no wonder that you got so many gay ass niggas out here. They'd rather just deal with themselves. They're like, fuck it. It's more men than women out here anyway. While these goofy ass hoes calling themselves fine and sexy than a motherfucker, knowing your pussy stink, your breath stink, your BO stink, and your butt stink. Don't you ever disrespect me like that. Don't you ever disrespect me calling yourself trying to treat me like I'm homeless when you got employees on the job stink. They out here stink. And whether they in full dress, in uniform, or in even sometimes in dress attire. Like you motherfuckers ain't never heard of a bath, much less, a good home cooked meal, which you don't have. Speaking of which, don't you ever disrespect me talking about with your bullshit ass food culture out here. Don't you ever disrespect me with all the amount of restaurants that y'all got out here, but they all suck. Denver, don't you ever disrespect me like that. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me up here rocking your Colorado Rockies jerseys, rocking your Denver Broncos jerseys, rocking your Denver Nuggets jerseys, knowing that the only one who's worth a damn might be the Denver Nuggets. Besides that, all these other bullshit ass teams suck. And I bet the Colorado Avalanche suck. Don't you ever disrespect me like that. Don't you ever disrespect me having me late for work because I got to get on the train with you bullshit ass Colorado Rockies, Denver Broncos fans, and Colorado Avalanche fans crowding up the train, like sardines, having me risk running work for late just to go to a game to see your sorry ass Rockies, Broncos, and Avalanche, and even Nuggets sometimes get their ass whooped because y'all just sorry as hell. And you know your teams are nothing more than a reflection of you. All these sports that you have in this garbage ass city, where you got the MLB, the NFL, as well as the NBA, as well as hockey, just to get out here and compete with other teams throughout the country and Canada, just to get their ass whooped. And you want to show loyalty towards that. That, my friend, is nothing more than a definition of a losing team, of a loser-ass society like you. Don't you ever in your life disrespect me, motherfucker. You Colorado gumshoe piece of shit. Colorado Rocky Mountain trash piece of shit, you. Don't you ever disrespect me like that. Don't you ever disrespect me thinking you gonna run a nigga like me about your town when you won't dare set foot in my town. You ain't like that, bruh. I'm like that. Cause if the shoe was on the other foot, if you wouldn't last a week in my town. You wouldn't last a week in Memphis, motherfucker. And I'm not talking about as a visitor. No, try living there. You wouldn't last a week there. Them niggas would have Swiss cheesed your shit. Acting the way y'all act. Because it never fails. Every time I see Colorado motherfuckers leave Colorado and go to particularly like the East Coast, and they bring that Colorado mentality there, and they stay getting their ass whooped. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that. Don't you ever disrespect me talking about putting, like, don't you ever disrespect me having your women up here putting themselves on a pedestal when they ain't even worth the panties that's supporting they shitty ass. Don't you ever disrespect me talking about having some quote-unquote dating standards when I've been out here and I've seen women out here with their period blood sticking out of their panties. Don't you ever disrespect me like that. Denver, don't you ever disrespect me like that. Hella disrespect. Don't you ever disrespect me talking about can't nobody get you when y'all up here on some witchcraft and Satanism type shit, wearing all kinds of pentagrams. Don't you ever disrespect me like that. Don't you ever disrespect me up here talking about you a legit city, like I said, in a city that's hard to find, where it's hard to find a date, and you got all kinds of pentagrams and 666s spray painted all throughout this town. Cause y'all worship the devil like that. Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever disrespect me talking about y'all got Y'all got all kinds of blood and Crip and GD and Vice Lord gangs, but y'all ain't doing nothing about Train de Aragua. Don't you ever disrespect me like that, bro. Because when a real gang showed up, your garbage ass was nowhere to be found. Acting like you hard shit. But when some real goons from the border show up, your ass is nowhere to be found. Or would you rather just fight each other? Because maybe, I don't know, maybe a nigga not fighting you back is more worth your is more of your speed. Is that what's going on? Don't you ever disrespect me like that. This old bullshit ass city. And let me tell you something, Colorado. This is just the beginner. I'm just getting started. I ain't even got a car yet, but I'm getting one. So don't be surprised when a nigga like me, when this Memphis nigga raise up on your ass and basically gank your shit like I've been doing these past damn near 8 years. Don't be surprised. Because you ain't doing shit with it. You'd rather just sit back and smoke your blues. Drink your booze and fight each other and do all this weird ass, goofy ass Colorado shit that ain't got nothing to do if you get into the bag. So why you tripping on me? Why are you even looking my way? That's what I want to know. I don't want your bullshit ass, garbage ass women. They've shown me who they are. I'm gonna have to when I get into a position of power, I'm gonna be up here importing bitches. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm either gonna go there or I'm gonna import them here, fly them out here. That's what I'm gonna do. Cause I can't do nothing with this Denver bitch, especially this black Denver bitch. Well, really all of them, truth be told. I can't do nothing with any of them, and that's cool. I can to an extent, I can appreciate y'all showing me who you are as a collective, so that I don't even, when it's time to do what I got to do, make so that in addition to that, being in the knowledge, being in the know of what I have to do, so that basically, I get to, like I said, I accomplish what I need to accomplish, and your bullshit ass ain't nowhere to be found. Except on the outskirts, probably cheering me on because, like I said, you just a weird ass Dr. Seuss character ass nigga out here in the Rocky Mountains, where you kind of got stuck behind the rest of American mannerisms and cultures, so you just developed something of a culture, really a counterculture, as you went along. Matter of fact, don't you ever disrespect me calling yourself, to all the Latinos of Denver, don't you, who call us pinche mayates, who got it out for us blacks, don't you ever disrespect me having all that hate and vitriol for Negroes, but you up here wearing shirts from way back in the 90s, like Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, and Aaliyah. I mean, make that make sense. Not only are you wearing shirts from well over 30 years ago, guess what? These are shirts of, you guessed it, Pinche Mayates. Who does that? Don't ever disrespect me like that. And the youth are doing that. Goofy ass. Clown ass. And I'm damn near 40 years old. I'll be damned if I'm be up here wearing a Boys in the Hood type shirt. Fuck I look like. Don't you ever disrespect me calling yourself trying to be hip and you ain't, and y'all up here trying to reenact shit from the 90s. Like, nigga, you got the internet. Take a look around the world. Up here wearing some shit from way, way back in the day. Like you just stuck in the glory years of the 90s, if you can call it that, because all y'all doing was just jock riding LA. And then you want to hate on LA. Some bullshit, bro. So yeah, that was a roast. I'm gonna go and get off because I'm well past 2 hours. But that was a roast well warranted where I described, like I said, the dating scene out here and why it sucks, in addition to why I've had to go through what I've had to go through, not only in my former bullshit ass city of Memphis, but my current bullshit ass city of Denver, and what's been going on, and why I finally started to realize, what this has all been about. Not just for dating. Like, I'm just talking about my own personal trials and tribulations, and how my so-called handsome looks didn't spare me of any of that, which is why I never qualified that shit. But, in addition to that, I just wanted to add on to, the hidden aspects of, just things that people aren't talking about when it comes to dating in this bullshit ass city. Like, Denver is not the place to be trying to get out here and get laid, because the people out here just suck. And, I'd rather not even go over, what I've already aforementioned about why they suck. They just suck because, they're losers. And, I call the Memphian a loser. So how much more does Denverite? They some losers. They're lower than the goddamn Memphians in a lot of ways. Sure, maybe less murderous, but they be clapping each other out here. So what does that tell you? To me, it's a losing battle. It's an uphill battle trying to get along with a group of people who can't even get along with themselves. Memphis taught me that, because I couldn't get along with them motherfuckers. So why was and them motherfuckers couldn't get along with themselves. So why was I trying to get along with the average Memphis nigga when the average Memphis nigga is backdooring the average Memphis nigga? And, Denver has... One thing I can say about Memphis, man, is that it basically gave me a sit rep as far as what to do with this place. And God willing, I will find out how to get money, how to extract money up out here. Because I told my Lyft driver the other day that I'm at the point in place, besides the 9-to-5 that I do have, which is my current and only source of income. Besides that, man, I'm at the point in age where I feel like I can just do bad by myself instead of trying to look for another job type shit. Because, at least where I currently work, there's structure. There's order. It can get pretty tough. It can get rough. It can get tough. That's the nature of that comes with the territory. But at least there's structure, there's order, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that most of the people in the company aren't from Denver. So it's perfect. It's perfect for a bunch of people who ain't from Colorado trying to make it in Colorado, instead of people who ain't from Colorado trying to make it in Colorado with motherfuckers from Colorado, because motherfuckers from Colorado don't want people who ain't from Colorado to make it in Colorado. And it ain't like they securing the bag. They a bunch of bullshit ass, garbage ass Colorado niggas who would rather spend their days drinking beer and going to Rockies games, going to Nuggets games, and hating on us out of towners than getting the bag they damn selves. And that should just show you right there that the so-called bag, it wasn't a gift. Like I said, it wasn't even a gift bestowed by them. What Colorado has become, as far as being an economic powerhouse, the Coloradans themselves aren't responsible for that. The Californians did that, and I dare say the Texans too. And I know I've said that before. So that should just go to show you the kind of loser culture that they have out here. That's my point. It ain't nothing out here worth dating. Not locally, anyway. And I'll tell you another thing. Let me tell you my one secret, another secret that I learned. For all of you who may be stuck in this town, who have to live in this town, and you're frustrated because you're stuck with these bullshit-ass Colorado niggas, here's what you do. This is one of the reasons why I promote foreign language learning, because it gives you the edge. It gives you the advantage. You got Russians out here. You got Burmese. You got Nepalese. According to my brother, there are people from all around the world who come to Denver. All around the world. Date them. don't fuck with these locals. And if you see somebody who probably is like from one of these parts of the world, but you can tell they're amalgamated in Denverite society, don't fuck with them either. Because it's only a matter of time before some of them are going to be Americanized. You just don't fuck with them. See, and guess who taught me? Guess where I learned that? I learned that from Memphis, because I come from a city that has a pretty rough gene pool and cesspool. And what I learned from experience is, you know, what that University of Memphis taught me is you deal with the women from overseas. And the more you know about them, the more you know about their language, the fact that you can speak to them in their language, you ain't even really got to mac at them like that. You can just, I can't tell you how many times I've gone up to women and just said something in German and Russian. And I got them wet. So you ain't got to come up with no clever pickup lines or nothing like that. So again, that gives you the edge. So that's what you do. Just leave the locals alone and I wouldn't say like, they say do as the Romans do. I say more like let the Romans do what they do and we just do what we do. Because the Romans on some more shit, like the Romans of Denver anyway. They on some more shit, so fuck them. Let them kill themselves, let them and the way. And if they get, which they will, because these goofy ass Denverites are nosy as fuck, put a bullet in their air, like put a bullet in their chest. As ironically enough, we've seen, because they've been up here robbing, stealing and shit. And like I remember a few years back, there was these goofy ass local kids, and these kids bad than a motherfucker, because they are just devoid of the concept of consequences. And I talk to people from out of state, and we talk about this all the time about these folks. These people don't understand consequences to breaking into somebody's shit and driving off with it. And those kids got their ass blowed off because there was this dude who had his car stolen, and he was like, and people were like, let the police handle it. And he was like, nah, fuck that, I want my car back. And surely enough, he tracked them, and they shot at him. He shot back, and he killed one of them little bastards. So I say, as far as the locals, fuck them. Let them eat themselves. Like, how Marie Antoinette said, let them eat cake. Like, nah, let them eat themselves out here. Because they on some bullshit. And I dare say, it's just an opportunity to have them, now that they tried to see my downfall. See, these motherfuckers are gonna get a fate even worse than the goddamn Memphians, because I don't live in Memphis anymore. These motherfuckers are basically gonna get this. They wanted to see my downfall, just like them bullshit ass Memphians. But I dare say the Denverite is gonna receive an ass whooping even worse than the damn Memphian, because they have to witness that shit from afar, the Memphian, because I don't live in Memphis no more. But the Denverite, the fate of the Denverite is that they get since they wanted to see me, my downfall, these motherfuckers are gonna get to see me rise. And that rising comes from years and years of discipline, years and discipline and turmoil and all that started from no more than your Memphis, Tennessee, my nigga. Long before I ran into your garbage Rocky Mountain trash ass. And with that said, I'll catch y'all in the next vid. I'm out.